You ever see a man try to stand when the world's already told him he can't? I did, and I'll never forget the silence that hit that courtroom when Clarence Duval, a guy who hadn't stood since Iraq, looked the judge right in the eye and reached for his cane. Yeah, that happened, and if you were there that Tuesday morning, you'd know exactly what I mean. From the start, the air felt wrong, like someone left the windows open in February and all the warmth had run out. Clarence rolled in, the squeak of his chair cutting through the usual buzz of lawyers whispering, people waiting for their names, that faint smell of old paperwork and tired hope. You were the only suit he owned, sleeves too long, collar just a bit too tight. His daughter Talia walked next to him, holding all the papers that proved he shouldn't be here. But in a place like this, proof never feels like enough. The charge? Probation violation had moved out after his building got sold. Didn't update his address with the system, like he was supposed to. But tell me, when you're living check to check, packing up your life in the middle of the night, who's thinking about forms and deadlines? Not Clarence. He just wanted to get his kids somewhere safe, somewhere the rent wouldn't eat them alive. Judge Ella Marbury was running the show. She had this way about her, smart, sharp, but cold as January ice. She read from her screen, didn't look up twice. Mr. Duval, you understand the charge, she said, flat and formal. Clarence just nodded, kept his chin high. You could tell the only thing heavier than his heart was the weight of being treated like a case file, not a man. Proceed to sentencing, she said, just like that. No hearing, no story. Talia squeezed his hand, trying to steady him. You ready, Dad? She whispered. Clarence nodded again. He was always ready, at least. That's what he wanted her to believe. Then came that line, the one that changed everything. Mr. Duval, please rise for your sentence. For a split second, you could hear every heartbeat in that place. Clarence looked at her, voice steady but quiet. Your Honor, I haven't stood since Fallujah. The room just froze. Most people never know what war takes. It's not just limbs, it's all the things you can't put on paper, the way you wake up reaching for something that's not there, the way the world never feels steady again. Clarence lost both legs to a roadside bomb, hauling civilians out of crossfire. The VA told him he'd never walk. Maybe that's true, but he sure as hell never stopped moving forward, coaching football, raising his daughter after his wife died, doing what he could, where he could. All of it led him here back in front of a judge, not for anything evil, but a technicality from years ago. Protocol requires you to stand, unless there's a certified medical exemption, the judge said. Talia stepped up fast, waving the doctor's letter. The clerk tapped her computer. Yep, they'd sent the records, but somewhere in the system, it got lost. Figures, right? Clarence didn't sigh or complain. He just nodded like he'd expected it. Then, slow and careful, he reached for a cane. Talia tried to stop him. Daddy, you don't have to. But he shook his head. Let me try. The whole room watched. You know, the kind of moment where you forget to breathe. It was not graceful. His hands shook, his shoulders trembled, but inch by inch he pushed himself up, knees buckling, jaw set like a steel trap. No one spoke. Not the lawyers, not the clerks, not even Judge Marbury. And just when you thought he'd give in, Clarence stood. Just for a heartbeat. The place erupted not with noise, but with something louder than words. Respect. The judge stood, too, breaking from her script, voice softer now. You don't have to do this, she said. Clarence met her eyes. I'm not doing it for you, he said. I'm doing it for the men I lost. And for the part of me I still remember. I swear you could see her walls crack in that moment. For the first time, she wasn't just a judge. She was someone's sister, someone who'd lost family in a war, someone who understood pain deeper than paperwork. And then came a twist no one saw coming. From the back of the courtroom, a man stood up, tall, clean-shaven, Marine Corps cap, pulled low. I served with him, he said, voice strong. He saved my life in Fallujah. That man isn't in numbers a hero. Clarence looked up, eyes wide. Raymond. The man nodded. Two old friends, linked by the worst day of their lives, reunited by the system that almost broke them both. Judge Marbury took it all in. She didn't rush. For the first time, she listened. When the room settled, she turned to Clarence, and her voice was different trio, almost raw. "Your sentence is vacated," she said. "Effective immediately. You're free to go." Talia broke down, hugging her dad. The courtroom, for a minute, forgot how to function. People didn't move, didn't pack up. They just sat, taking it in. But before they left, the real surprise landed. An intern named Rena, supposed to be observing, had been sketching the scene. She posted it online that night, no names, no faces, just a man rising in court, a judge standing beside him. By morning, it went viral. Veterans chimed in, reporters called, strangers donated to causes they'd never heard of. For once, the world wasn't interested in the drama. They just wanted to remember what hope looked like. A week later, Clarence met Judge Marbury again in the hallway. No courtroom, no robes. Just two people. "Yesterday, when you asked me to stand," he said, "I didn't feel insulted. I felt seen." The judge nodded, tears in her eyes. "You reminded me what justice is supposed to mean. Not the law, but the people behind it. That's the part nobody expects, right? That sometimes one stubborn act, one honest moment, can ripple out farther than you'll ever see." Clarence kept living quiet, never chasing the spotlight. Talia set up a fund for wounded veterans who'd slipped through the cracks. Judge Marbury started changing how she ran her courtroom. And that sketch? It raised more money in a month than Clarence ever made in a year. You want to know how it ends? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe stories like this are meant to keep showing up whenever someone's told to sit down and chooses to stand instead. If this hit you, even a little, think about who you see when you look at a courtroom, a hospital, or even the guy rolling down your block. Share your thoughts below. Hot's justice to you? When does law serve people? And when do people have to push back? Let's talk about it. Because one step at a time, that's how change begins.